Hey everyone, RJ here with CV Tech, and today I'm giving my 1 month review with the Google Pixel 3a XL. Now, since I've had this phone, this has been my daily phone for a month. And I gotta say, no issues whatsoever. There's a lot of negativity about this phone going all over YouTube and everywhere else. Just ignore that, clear it out of your mind for a little while, and just listen to what I gotta say about my experience with this phone. Now, first thing I want to get into is the hardware of the phone, the body of the phone. Yes, the phone is made of polycarbonate, which is a fancy word for plastic. So a plastic design here. But honestly, the phone feels very durable. It don't feel cheap in any way. It is very, very slick. I mean, it has a little frosted pattern there on the back, a little frosty looking color with a glossy on top here. But the phone is extremely slick, and I highly recommend the case for this phone. Now, as far as the screen goes, the screen is made of Dragon Trail glass, and Dragon Trail glass, we all know, is not being the greatest glass in the world. It tends to crack easier, it tends to scratch easier. So that's one of the negatives I would say with this phone right here. If I had to put it in a negative, would be that the screen is Dragon Trail glass instead of Gorilla Glass. But keep it in the case, don't drop it, protect it, and you should be just fine. But like I may mention, the phone is super slick, and you will definitely want a case for this phone if you intend on carrying it every single day, because if you're clumsy, you're probably going to drop this phone, it's going to shatter or whatever. You know, I mean, of course, the back probably be okay, but the front, yeah, the glass is where I would be a little more concerned about it. So screen protectors probably be your friend with this phone here. So secondly, I want to hit on the display. Now the display is a 6-inch full 1080p OLED display. And honestly, the display is very crisp, very clear, very vibrant. Now, it does not get very, very bright. So if you're outside in the sunlight, you may have a hard time seeing this display. Right now, as you can see, I have it about 3/4 of the way up, and it's bright enough in here. Going outside in the direct sunlight, you better crank it all the way to 100 if you want to see it any at all. And even then, it might be just a little bit hard to see, but it's still manageable. So yeah, so the screen looks very good, very crisp, very clear. Just don't get very bright. Now, as far as responsiveness of touch, okay, I'm running Nova Launcher like I do on all my phones. I don't care if it's stock Google like this right here. I run Nova Launcher. That's just what I like to use. I got my own way of setting things up, and that's what I use on every phone. This phone here is no different, okay? And the touch responsiveness of this phone here is great. I've had no missed touches. Everything works phenomenally well. This is a very fast, speedy phone, which leads me into my third point, is performance. Now, performance has been excellent with this phone. Snapdragon 670, 4 GB of RAM. This phone has been excellent. I've had no issues, no stutters, no lags, no freezes, no anything. This phone has been my daily phone for a month. It's got 64 GB of onboard storage. Half of that's being used up, using it as a dash cam, taking pictures, videos, all that kind of stuff. So I got around 30 GB of storage free. Would have been nice to see an SD card slot for this phone, but that ain't the case. But you know, just crack your files, you'll be good to go. Now, I'm going to rant here for just a minute, because I've seen a lot of negative comments, a lot of negative this, negative that about this phone. And there's a few reasons why I feel that people trash this phone. One is people look at the specs and think, oh, 670 processor, 4 GB of RAM, that's nowhere near enough in 2019 to run a phone. So the first group is those who only go by specs, okay? Specs don't mean nothing, okay? 670 processor, 4 GB of RAM runs this phone flawlessly, very well optimized, and it runs great. So if you're hearing negativity about this phone's performance, just ignore it. The phone runs great. Now, the second group I feel might be just a little upset that a sub $500 phone can perform almost as good as their flagship devices, just in performance. Now, of course, it doesn't have all the fancy gadgets. It doesn't have 10, 15 cameras on the back. You know, it don't have all this, you know, all the flagship stuff like IP ratings and wireless charging and all that kind of stuff with this phone. But honestly, you know, you're buying this phone here for $479 or $399 for the 3A. But you're getting very good performance out of this phone. And I believe that people are a little upset this phone right here can perform, much as they won't hate to admit it maybe, that it performs very well, and it would pretty much hang with a lot of more expensive phones that are out there today. Now, the third group, is those who have never touched a phone, never used a phone, and is going by what bigger YouTubers are saying about this phone here and calling it whatever they want to call it, and going by the specs, okay? Ignore that, okay? If you've never used this phone, keep your mouth shut, okay? That's the best way I can put it, is if you've never used a phone, if you've never held it in your hand, if you've never used and experienced how this phone works, just don't say anything at all, because without using it, you can't judge it, and don't listen to what anybody else has to say about it until you put it in your hand and you use it. That goes for any phone, regardless of price point, budget, mid-range, flagship, whatever the case may be. Don't judge it until you use it. So, to anybody speaking negative about this phone right here, most likely has never touched the phone, let alone used the phone. So, yeah, just ignore those people who says it's slow, it's garbage, it's trash. Like I said, they're either one of those three groups. They're all about specs. They're a little upset this phone here can perform very, very well and about as good as their high-end phones, or those who've never even used the phone. So, yeah. With that being said, performance has been great. Had no issues with it whatsoever. And even gaming. Gaming does very well. I do got a little sample here I want to play of PUBG. Only one game. I got PUBG downloaded to see. It's a very graphic intense game, as y'all all know. Very popular game. So I did go ahead and download it. I did play a little bit of sample of it. So let's go ahead and check that out. Okay, so we're on PUBG. Now, whenever I first started this game, it set the default graphics to high. So you're seeing the highest graphics you can get right now on this game. And as you're seeing, the 670 processor is doing a very good job with really no lag. There is no stuttering. It's smooth. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. So we'll just run around here for a minute. I'm trying to play this looking through my phone screen here, which is not quite as easy to do. But yeah, as you can see right here, I mean, the quality is really good. The graphics are smooth. There is no stuttering. There is no nothing wrong with it. I mean, it just plays just terrific. No problem whatsoever. And unfortunately, right now there's nobody around to chase after. So, but yeah, just a little example here of how, I mean, PUBG, very graphic intense game, very popular game, and I'm having no issues with the 670 processor with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So, yeah, great experience and no problems. Now, on to the cameras. Now, we all know that Google can do a lot of good stuff with this one lens. Okay, you don't need 3 lenses. You don't need 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, how many lenses are on phones these days. This single lens does a very, very good job. I do have a couple pictures I want to show right now. And as you can see, these pictures here, they come out very, very well. Using the ones at night with the night sight, as you're probably seeing somewhere in this, it's amazing how much light it can bring in with just a little bit of light to work with. You know, it looks dark, cut night sight on, and man, the quality is just amazing. Okay, how much brighter it can bring things up. Also, you know, daylight photos, crisp, clear, sharp, no problems. It's just a fantastic camera. Y'all know it's second to none. One of the best on the market right now. Now, the nighttime video that I'm showing here is just going down the road late at night, no lights, just the headlights on the road. You can see that it lets in a lot of light. Very good for dash cam if you want to use it for a dash cam. So, yeah, want to show you that there. So then we're just a few photo samples and a little nighttime video here on the Pixel 3a XL. Now, I took some daytime video as well, and I'm like, where's the bad quality? Where's the subpar quality? I mean, yes, it may not be the best on the market, but honestly, the camcorder on this thing, recording in 4K, recording in 1080p, does a very good job. Okay, it does very well. Have no issues with it. The video recording, stabilization works just fine. But the cameras on here, it honestly don't need anything more to say than it's great, and it's one of the best cameras I've ever used. And so, yeah, very good on the camera. So wrapping this up here, final thoughts of this phone. Yeah, I didn't hit on a whole lot, but honestly, the Pixel 3a XL, I can say, is worth the money. It's a great phone. I highly, highly recommend this phone. I've had no issues with it. I've had it on T-Mobile. It works great. I got it right now on Total Wireless. It works fantastic. No issues, no problems. Reception is great on this phone. Call quality is really good. Speakerphone quality, I mean, I've had it sitting, laying, talking on it, and they hear me fine. I hear them just fine. The same way, just traditional talking, on the phone. Call quality is great. Reception is really good on T-Mobile, Total Wireless, which is on the Verizon network. There's no problem whatsoever with that. Battery life has been very good. I forgot to mention it earlier, but battery life has been really good on this device. I get between 7 to 8.5 hours screen on time, and between a day and a quarter maybe of usage out of this phone's battery. And that's with moderate usage, okay? So 8 to 8.5 hours is where I'm basically at every time that I turn it off to charge it or plug it in or whatever to charge it. And the phone charges up relatively fast. Not the fastest in the world, but hey, it does okay. But phone is great. For what my usage is and what I do with the phone, this phone has been great. I've had no issues, no problems whatsoever. It's just been a fantastic phone. Yes, the phone's got bezels on top and the bottom here. Who cares? Okay, the phone's got some bezel on the bottom, bezel on the top. Who gives a rip? We're complaining about bezels. We're complaining about notches. And now I'm even seeing some people complain about full screen displays because if they curve, you can't pick the phone up without hitting or mistapping an app. So, I mean, nobody's ever happy and satisfied. That's just the only way to put it, okay? I mean, you got bezels, that's a problem. You got a notch, that's a problem. Full screen display, well, if you pick it up, you're going to hit an app. You're going to do something. So, you can't please everybody. Or please anybody sometimes. That's just the way it goes. But yes, the phone's got bezels, but you know what? It's very nice if you're holding the phone like this, got somewhere to put your thumbs at if you're watching a video, without touching the screen or whatever. So what's wrong with a little bit of bezel? There is no problem with it, Just quit whining. I'm sorry, just quit whining. But anyway, that's about all I got to say about this phone right now. After 1 month, it's been a great experience. I've had no issues, no battery problems, no performance problems. It's not slow. It's a fast phone, and I highly recommend it. So, I know I ranted a little bit on this video. I know I kind of said what I wanted to say, which is what I was going to do all along anyway. But if this is helpful and informative anyway, hit that like button. Any questions you may have, leave it down below. And subscribe if you haven't. I would appreciate it. Hit that bell for notifications, and YouTube might notify you. Let's hope so. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.